there, Internet. This is Bridgerton Fancast. We are a fan-created podcast where we talk about all things Bridgerton.
I'm Michelle. I live in the States. You can find me at Musings on Instagram and Twitter, and I have not read the Bridgerton books.
And my name is Rita. I live in England, and I'm at Annoying Rita on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm the book reader amongst us for my sins.
Thank you for joining us again this week, and everyone who has reached out to say they are enjoying the podcast. You guys are so sweet. And a special shout out to Emzywa, EMZYW, Lala Me 6, and Jojo Amber 7 for your iTunes reviews. These kind words almost make the torture of watching one episode a week worth it. Almost. Because it's still agony.
Anyway, let's get on with our recap of episode 5 of season 2. It was titled An Unthinkable Fate, oh my god, and was written by Amy MacDonald and directed by Tom Verica, aka the murdered man on How to Get Away with Murder.
Oh!
That one, I know, it's a very small Shondaland world. But on to the recap we go.
Okay, the episode began with some extreme horniness as Kate fluttered her fan and heaved her bosom. We were then treated to a K-drama style montage of all the previous romantic encounters she had with Anthony. Said Anthony then enters the room and greets Kate with a nod of the head and a slight pinky brush. Oh my god, it's hand porn. Anyway, it turns out that Anthony and Kate are at the palace along with the rest of the Sharma family and Lady Danbury to talk to Queen Charlotte about the engagement. Despite the fact that Anthony wants a small country wedding, he is overridden and forced to accept the Queen's hospitality. She is throwing the biggest fucking wedding the town has ever seen, of course.
Cringe. Back at Bridgerton House, Anthony and Violet are in a flutter trying to organise everything ahead of the wedding. There are carriages to scrub, silverware to polish, etc., etc. The subject of whether Kate will be joining them when Edwina moves into the Bridgerton house arises, and Anthony looks visibly panicked, like he clearly didn't think this whole wedding thing through at all. Like, come on, Anthony. What a dumbass. Violet asks Eloise to help her prepare for the engagement ball, but Eloise is a lying liar who lies and tells her that she is busy learning how to arrange some flowers with Penelope. What is it with this show and flower arranging? Anyway, it's not even a very convincing lie, but it works on her mother.
Of course it does. Meanwhile, Edwina is at the modiste trying on her rather boring wedding gown.
Did I tell you we will be married by the Archbishop himself?
Several times.
Is there anything more tedious than wedding planning? No, there isn't. Still in her own little world of delusions, Edwina talks about the coming months in London as if her sister isn't planning on shipping out on the first boat available. Kate tries to warn her she is leaving forever, but Edwina doesn't pick up on the desperation to flee vibe her sister is putting out.
Also at the modiste are the Featheringtons. Portia, now desperately prick again, encourages Prudence to put down those silks. Her trousseau is gonna be bare bones. Penelope takes this opportunity to talk shop with Genevieve, whom pushes her to further advertise her shop by telling the Ton she has been chosen to make the Diamonds wedding ensemble. As if anyone gives a shit. So I guess we know what she's in the Lady Whistledown game for.
Mm-hmm.
Kate arrives home early from the modiste to find Anthony and his jeweller waiting in the parlour as they need to have the betrothal ring altered.
Mm-hmm.
Telling. Anyway, Kate is awkwardly forced to entertain the two men while they wait on Edwina and Mary. The cake-mad jeweller is like, hey, Kate, why don't you try on your sister's engagement ring to help me size it? Much to Anthony's collective horror, but they are forced to play along, otherwise it would be too fucking obvious that they're into each other. What do you know? The ring fits Kate's fingers perfectly. Anyway, more hand-touching and longing eye contact ensues before they are interrupted by Edwina's, or as I am now referring to her, the cockblocker's arrival. Kate then struggles to yank the damn ring back off her finger, because the ring has chosen her! It's like Lord of the Rings!
Yes.
She is the one. But eventually she yanks it off and hands it back. Boo.
Lady Danbury then offers, why wasn't she waiting with Anthony to start with? We will never know. And makes an announcement. The Sheffields, aka the evil grandparents, have written to say they are in London and would like to visit Edwina and congratulate her on her nuptials. Kate looks panicked, which of course Anthony picks up on, but Edwina does not. Lady Danbury will invite them to a dinner party she is hosting tomorrow so that everyone can be reunited and this show can have just a little bit more drama.
Never have enough.
Mm-mm.
Sprinkle it on the top.
Exactly. It's time to promenade, everyone. The whole town are out in Hyde Park, and Edwina and Anthony are parading their new engagement while Kate and Lady Danbury chaperone them from a safe distance in which to have a much-needed chat. Danbury encourages Kate not to mess this up for Edwina, that the ending of their engagement would cause such a huge scandal that the penniless Sharma family could never recover from. Danbury tells her only a fool would jeopardize the marriage, and Kate Sharma is no fool.
They are then interrupted by Mr. Dorset. Remember him, everyone?
Yeah!
What a time we had. He begs forgiveness for previously lying to Kate and asks her to promenade around the park with him. Lady Danbury accepts on her behalf, and they go off for a stroll and a boat ride in the Serpentine together. Right in front of Anthony, who is completely ignoring his future bride in favour of looking longingly at her sister. That's not weird at all.
No.
Anyway, Edwina is Mr. Magoo level of blind for this, though, and instead she is beaming at the thought of a potential romance for Kate, as she wants to keep her in London. But Anthony is like, no, this cannot happen. She is my emotional support, Kate, not his. And goes over to help Kate out of the boat. Just an excuse to touch her, really, and I'm not complaining. We get another sexy hand porn shot as
Yes.
he reaches out, and Kate, startled by the contact and, sexy moments, pulls her hand away. Anthony trips over Newton's fluffy ass butt and falls into the river, going full Darcy. Klaxon alert, he has gone full Darcy, and he
Yes.
has recreated the wet shirt period drama cliche everyone has been clamoring for.
And it's delightful.
It's fun.
Colin bumps into Penelope and they chat. With Anthony getting married and Benedict at the Royal Academy, Colin feels as if he has no purpose. He suggests that he might talk to the new Lord Featherington about his ruby mines. No. And also questions why Penelope isn't at the flower arranging thing with Eloise. Penelope is a good enough friend to cover for Eloise, but she looks completely perplexed. Girl, you ain't the only one. Eloise, meanwhile, has snuck away to the Bloomsbury Assembly Halls to see a rowdy speech given on the rights of women. Does she actually listen, though? Of course not.
Of course not.
No. She, instead, hunts down and begins flirting with Theo Sharp, the printer's apprentice. Apparently, this young man is responsible for the pamphlets she so adores. And apparently, Eloise loves it when a man tells her how to feminism. Facepalm. The next day, Penelope comes to visit Eloise, but is blown off. Eloise says she has to help prepare for the wedding, but I don't buy it. Penelope knows something weird is afoot, and so asks Eloise's maid about her whereabouts the previous day. She learns it was in Bloomsbury, and freaks the fuck out, because that's where her publisher is.
Oh, drama. Benedict attends his first class at the Royal Academy and discovers that tits will be involved. Huzzah!
Woo!
Yep, why focus on your craft when you can be horny in a life drawing class? He then finds out the woman with said tits is also an artist but can't attend classes because of that pesky vagina she has. Instead, she models as a way of learning from the lectures. This then becomes a scene where they have sex. And whoop-de-frickin' I managed to fit this entire plot into one paragraph, people. That's Back at Lady Danbury's house, Kate and Mary meet in the garden and discuss the impending dinner party. Kate, seeing her mother's distress, tells Mary she could bow out and claim to have a headache, but apparently Lady Danbury is insisting. I mean, who made her the queen of the universe and guider of all? Anyway, Kate asks her about the last time she saw her family.
The night your dear father asked for my hand in marriage, I believe. Lord Sheffield made it clear in no uncertain terms that he did not support the match. So I had a choice to make. Between my family and my heart. Did you ever regret that choice?
Despite her love for Kate's father, it's very clear that Mary regrets being forced to make a decision, and Kate declares it a high price to pay for love.
Parallel! Across town, Anthony is talking to his own mother, who tells him that he is approaching the altar with all the enthusiasm of a man approaching the gallows. Anthony, who is now obviously having second thoughts, points out that he is unable to take back his word now, as he is a gentleman.
The gentleman!
Oh, he's a gentleman. But Violet tells him that young women are able to call off engagements, and she is willing to have a word with Lady Danbury and come up with a solution that could get him out of this mess. Finally, some good mothering.
Yay! I'm so happy for you, Violet. It only took you
done.
11 years. Okay, here we go. Kate and Edwina are dressing for dinner. Edwina is abuzz with excitement to meet her grandparents, and Kate, well, not so much. She tries to approach the subject of the deal she struck with them, but is cut off by Lady Danbury. This woman, man.
I know, right?
Announces
her timing is impeccable.
She announces that the Sheffields have already arrived, and Edwina is like, bah! Kate is really making a habit out of this. What is this? Like the second time this has happened? After Edwina leaves, Lady Danbury tells Kate that she is hosting the dinner for her, not her sister, so that Kate can have a life of independence on their dime, at the cost of her own personal happiness and romantic fulfillment with Anthony, but we won't mention that.
After passion cools and fate intervenes, who else is a woman left with but herself?
Woman, this is the complete opposite of what you were saying like 2 episodes ago. I can't.
Oh, God. They enter the parlor where the Sheffields and Violet and Anthony are waiting for them. And who do we have as their grandfather?
Giles.
Anyway. Yes.
Giles.
Giles. Oh, that was awful. That was awesome. Awesome. Edwina simpers before the Sheffields, who delight in her beauty. Their reception to their daughter is markedly more cool. The party all head into the dining room, where things take a dramatic turn for the awkward, as Lady Sheffield can't help but make digs at her daughter for marrying a Clark, and Kate for being the daughter of God knows who. Mary snaps and starts telling them that their cruelty set her and her daughters free from judgment and craven demands that they should chase wealth and titles above all else. And Kate is making shifty eyes the entire time.
Yeah, about that. Whoops. It is then that the big secret, but no, not that one, is revealed. Kate made some kind of agreement with the Sheffields that Edwina would receive a dowry if she married into the English aristocracy. Everyone, watch Anthony's face as he finds that. It's delightful. He's like, oh fuck. Everyone looks shocked, including Anthony, who's just found his ticket off this train to the altar. Thank you very much. Everyone then starts yelling at Kate, so Anthony just loses his shit and tells the Sharma that is enough. Thank you. And that since they are incapable of speaking to the Sharmas with respect, they better get their ass up and leave, because they are not welcome there or at his very fancy wedding. That dramatic speech brings the night to a halt, and everyone gets up to leave, including Anthony and Violet. Desperate, Kate runs after Anthony and asks him for a moment to explain herself.
They walk back into the parlor alone, scandalo. And Anthony tells her that he wants to break off the doomed engagement. Kate is like, what the hell? For the previous 5 episodes, Kate has been trying to event this damn wedding, and Anthony has been so insistent. What has Edwina done?
She has done nothing, it is you. You have made this match impossible.
But I am leaving for India.
And it is not far enough. Do you think that there is a corner of this earth that you could travel to far away enough to free me from this torment? I am a gentleman. My father raised me to act with honor, but that honor is hanging by a thread that grows more precarious with every moment I spend in your presence. You are the bane of my existence and the object of all my desires. Night and day, I dream of you.
He then approaches her and cups her face with his hands and describes the burning sexual passion he has for her. The "I burn for you" line would have been great here. Just saying. Yeah. He tells her that if he marries her sister, they would be bound together for life, and that one day his restraint is going to snap and ruin all of their lives. It's only what we've been screaming at you all season, Anthony!
Come on, boy! Come on!
Holy crap! Anyway, they hear a noise, realize they are once again all up in each other's faces, and he turns to leave.
Time to cool down over at the Featheringtons. The family are languishing in their parlour, discussing how they are receiving no invitations again. Portia loses it and barges into Lord Featherington's study. They should have had sex in that moment, but I never get what I want. She insists that he needs to take the offer of investments the gentlemen of the ton have offered him. Sure, his minds are all failing, but how the hell are these idiots ever going to find out? Honestly, a little light embezzlement will solve all their problems.
Yes.
Back with the Sharmas, Kate is apologizing to Edwina for lying to her. After her father's death, Kate took on the management of their affairs, and she explains that she saw this as an answer to all their financial troubles. She explains that it has weighed on her every day in ways Edwina cannot even imagine, really.
Yeah.
Edwina tells her that she is not a little girl anymore. I have question marks about that.
Yes, you are.
That she is willing to ask Anthony to help look after Kate and Mary financially. Girl, he has 7 siblings to look after financially too.
Mm-hmm.
This poor man. Anyway, she also tells Kate that she loves Anthony. Bigger question mark about that.
Mm-hmm.
That the way he defended her family, really Kate though, to be honest, it was all about Kate, made her realise that she loves him. What a mess.
Speaking of, Eloise sneaks out to see Theo again the next morning and is spotted by a very annoyed-looking Penelope. Meanwhile...
Agreed, Penelope, agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, sis. We'll sort this out.
Meanwhile, Kate rides out in Hyde Park in the morning to a dramatic-ass cover of Alanis Morissette's You Oughta Know.
I'm here to remind you. Okay.
Anthony, having guessed where she would be, rides out to meet her. Kate asks him what he plans to do, and he says he can see no other option but to end the engagement.
Hallelujah! 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 Hallelujah!
Kate begs him not to do that.
Oh, so close.
I do not understand. You have been against this union from the start.
I was wrong! I will not be the cause of you losing your honor, any more than I can stand to see Edwina in pain. You once saw her as your perfect match. You will find your way to believing it again. Please, please, Lord Bridgerton. Anthony, you must keep your word. You must marry my sister. You must marry her as soon as you can, because this feeling that plagues us so, it will pass. It will become tenable. It will become bearable. And soon enough, it will be as if we never felt it at all. Mere passion. It must, because it has to.
Anthony shakes his head, but agrees to her request. After he rides away, Kate breaks down in tears. The end. Honest to God, this show is going to destroy me.
First impressions, obviously, were complete abject pain.
Yes.
Heartbreak.
Yes. It was a great episode, but the thought that was going through my head the entire time is, this is episode 5. We're running out of time for this to get resolved and for us to get what we want. Damn it.
I mean, I loved this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a great exploration of Kate's background.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been dying for Mary's background to be delved into.
Yes.
So I think it was
It
was great, and it furthered the Kate and Anthony storyline in a great way, and really added a realistic and, dare I say, satisfying reason to keep them apart.
Yeah.
Despite the pain, it was a very enjoyable episode.
Yeah.
But having said that, I share your panic. The complete, overwhelming feeling of like, there is 3 hours left,
Yes.
Michelle.
Time is ticking, people.
And one of them is a fucking wedding.
Yeah.
So, maybe I just need to make peace with the fact that we're probably not going to get happy married Kate and Anthony. Like, they need to, like, sort out this complete and utter clusterfuck. And that's gonna be...
That's gonna be totally dissatisfying.
Yeah.
I want them to be happy.
What's gonna be good for you, though, is that you get to then read the book where they're married for, like, most of it. You're gonna be so happy.
Oh,
and I'm just gonna be sitting there like, I've read this. I wanted to see this on screen.
I think we're going to be using the name of our network a lot when we go into the book reading, I think.
Oh, yeah.
See, in the books, this should have been done a long time ago. Oh, God.
It's what we're here for. It's our cliche reason for being.
Yes.
So, some of the themes for this week's episode, I thought about this a lot, because, I'm an overthinker. And I think this week's was about legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Kate inherited a lot of burdens from her father, in the same way that Anthony has, which I think was really interesting, and, like, for me, reinforced why this relationship between these two people works. They have a very similar amount of pressure on their shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that's kind of delicious in its own way. And I think the events of Mary's life play a huge part in impacting the next generation in both Kate and Edwina's. Because I was thinking, like, this event, like, happened years before Edwina was even born, but I think this sort of illustrates the difference between Kate and Edwina in that the same event made them very different people. I think Edwina has learnt to prioritize love, and Kate has learnt to prioritize family. And neither of them are very healthy. I think what I was struck by when Kate was having that conversation with her was like, you shouldn't have to choose. The thing that was wrong was the choice in and of itself. And both Kate and Edwina need to realize that don't make a choice. You can have both in your life, and you should fight to have both.
Yes.
Anyway, that's me and my soapbox.
What
did you think?
That's a good soapbox. I think that one of the things that, if you strip away all of the other stuff that was going on, with the Featheringtons and everybody else and their craziness, you come to the realization that love is incredibly important, and that, when poor Kate is saying, repeating the words that Danbury, told her earlier in the episode, that, when passion cools and fate intervenes, who else do you have to rely on but yourself? And I think it's being true to who you are is one of the things that I think I came away with in this episode. That, and this just may be my old lady jadedness after, years of life and unsatisfying relationships and divorce and, all of that kind of stuff. Ultimately, we need to rely on who we are at our core. Because that is who we have. That is who we have. God, I just got dark.
That's okay.
But
I think the themes of this show are very heavy when you think about self-identity. It's like such a prominent theme. And I love that line for Lady Danbury because I think it's such an essential truth for herself. But where I struggle with her, and we can talk about that later in more depth, is that I think she's applying her own point of view onto Kate. And everybody has different experiences and different priorities. And I think Kate definitely needs to prioritize herself and her love life more than Lady Danbury, because I think Lady Danbury has a great sense of self-worth and she has a lot of self-esteem and she can rely on herself. Kate, I think, has a low sense of self-worth. And I think the show's sort of hinted at that. I hope they explore that a bit more.
Yeah.
And I think for her, it's more important that she learns to be a bit selfish. A version of self-love is accepting love.
Yes.
I think. Oh my God, this has got really... I hate myself. I just heard myself and I was like, I'm cringing. What is wrong with me? This is not a Peloton ad. Okay, let's move on.
Oh God. I just took a huge sip of water when you said that.
I'm so sorry for everyone. What I just became. Oh, that was so
Lord.
cheesy. I apologize to everyone.
Oh God. Okay, let's move off the themes.
We just went into such cringy territory.
Storylines. Anthony, what do you think?
Anthony!
What do you think?
I was really struck by, the previous episode was really like hot and passionate and like, the unrepressed feelings were like, ooh, coming out. I think this episode I was struck by how like in love they are, like the hard eyes and the touching and they're so intimate and like loving. When he cupped her face, it was like, oh, these guys are in love.
Yeah.
And it really like, it breaks your heart by the end of the episode.
Yeah. I mean, the scene which started off rather hilarious when they're doing the, okay, we need to size this ring situation.
Oh, God.
That the scene, the way they started that scene off was hilarious. But then by the time they get the ring on her finger, and Cake Boy, goes off to enjoy more cake, we hear the softening of their voices. And Anthony, says, that it was the ring that his father gave his mother when they got engaged, and just the tone of his voice and just that moment where, he takes her hand in his and brushes his thumb over the ring. Oh my God.
This man is so gone. Like, he managed to hold out for all of like 2 minutes when they were alone together before he's like, oh fuck, I regret getting engaged. I made a mistake. And I loved that Violet was finally the one who's like, come on, Anthony, this needs to end.
Yes. And
I think what was interesting was watching Jonathan Bailey play that like almost completely silently, because he doesn't admit it until the end, but throughout every scene he's around Edwina for the whole thing he's like, crap, I hate this.
Oh God.
No.
What have I done? What have I done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He keeps looking at Kate as well, like all the way through dinner. I was just like, this is inappropriate.
And it's like, is no one noticing this? I mean,
how is come on.
It's a giant elephant sitting in the middle of the dining room table.
Elephant that is very horny. It's a very horny elephant that is humping things.
Oh God.
I also thought, like, at the end of the episode when she's like, you have to marry Edwina.
Yes.
I think I realised that he agrees to her not because of his duty to his family anymore. I think he sort of let that go. Like, this conversation with his mother, he finally accepted that he ain't doing shit by marrying Edwina.
Right.
Like, his family don't give a crap. I think he does it because he loves Kate and she's desperate. You can see, like, he just wants to make sure, like, she's saying, I'll be heartbroken if you do this. And he's like, okay, I'll do this for you. There's this sort of acceptance of, like, this is very fucked up, but I can't see you sad any more than, like, I think he just falls like a house of cards. He's like, yep, okay, I'll do what you want.
Yes.
If that's what you want, I'll do what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't do what I want.
They're killing me. Like I said, 3 episodes!
Okay, so
okay.
the triangle.
Oh.
What did you think about Edwina this week?
I was really sick and tired of her until that moment when she looked at Kate across the dinner table and said, what are they talking about? You know, she's completely clueless about what's going on. And, you know, it's in that moment that, you know, Kate recognizes that, you know, it was in that moment she realized she fucked up. to borrow from a meme. But, you know, it also is reinforced in the scene when the two sisters are talking and Edwina says, I'm not a little girl anymore.
When people say things like that, I instantly go, yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are.
Like, it's the same as when Eloise said this wasn't a phase. These are both essentially true statements, but the writing is so cliche that I'm just like,
like, really? But, you know, and technically she's right. You know, it's like she is old enough to be married and, you know, running a household and doing all that kind of stuff. And while, you know, Kate was noble in her thinking that, you know, she wanted Edwina to be able to go into this experience and make a love match, which is an admirable sentiment, that the fact that she didn't tell Edwina what was going on has done them 0 favors.
It's definitely like Kate has been feeding the fans of this terrible disaster that these 3 people are in.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Kate, you've done fucked it up.
Yep.
I thought it was interesting that the thing that made Edwina love Anthony was him defending her sister.
Yeah.
That, I think, that tells you so much about Edwina's character. I think she is a very loyal sister in the way that Kate is, but I don't think she has the opportunities to express it because I don't think Kate ever allows her to make any kind of sacrifices or really, like, suffer at all any consequences for her actions.
Yeah.
I think Kate's just sort of stifling Edwina, not in the obvious ways, but also in the way of, like, how she can show her affection for her sister. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. It's also incredibly messy.
Yeah.
I don't think she loves Anthony at all. Like,
she loves the idea of Anthony. You know, she loves the idea of being the Viscountess. You know, she keeps saying over and over again. It makes me grind my teeth. Whenever she says that, you know,
to be a Viscountess.
I'll be your Viscountess. You know, so she loves the idea. You know, which is why I think, you know, if they're able to get her hooked up with the first dude that Kate picked out.
I saw him in this episode.
Yes, he was
and
there.
I was like, come on.
Go run over there and do something. You know, if they're able to wind up getting her attention turned back over in that direction, she would be much better off. And I think he would be a great match for her.
I think he would be perfect for her little hero worshipping, because she's definitely somebody who puts love interests on pedestals, and I think he does a similar thing. It would be like, and Kate and Anthony aren't about that life. They're about dragging you into the mud with their love. I will say, like, as much as I think I was more annoyed last week when Anthony decided he was going to propose. Because I was like, that is an impulsive action of self-destruction.
Yeah.
While I think Kate choosing her sister over Anthony's affections 100% makes sense to me. I was like, of course you would. This is somebody you've loved your entire life.
Yeah.
This is the last remaining member of your family, remember, because her parents are dead. And I think, she has poured so much of her love into Edwina, she's not capable of loving anybody else, including herself.
You realize that you said both of her parents are dead?
Her parents are dead. Both of her parents are dead.
Oh God, that's right. Okay, never mind. Because I was going to say Mary's just standing right there, but it's like Mary's not her mom.
No.
Yeah.
And I think as much as Kate calls her mama and loves her, I think she never feels like she is 100% a part of that family.
Yeah.
Because she wouldn't be responding to situations in the way that she is if she did feel like she had a solid base with Mary.
Yeah.
I also thought it was interesting when they were having that fight, she defended her mother from attack, but she never defended herself.
Yeah.
And this is a person who is incredibly forthright. I think she has really accepted the role of, unwanted sister.
Yeah.
And that's tragic. It breaks my heart. And I was like, thank you, Anthony, for standing up for her, because she's not going to do it for herself. I think before the season's out, I need a scene where she accepts that she is worthy in her own right. No matter who her parents are, she's Kate motherfucking Sharma, and she is delightful. And we love her.
Yeah. Although I did appreciate Mary finally, standing up and saying, I have 2 daughters.
Oh, Mary. I think Mary's only flaw is that she hasn't found her own voice as a mother. Even in that scene, she was very silent and passive until she felt like they poked the bear too much, and she was like, "Oh, Mary, find your voice, Mary."
Oh God! Well, speaking of the bear that poked or the poke that roused the bear, let's talk about the Sheffields,
aka Giles and his wife.
Giles, yes.
Can we just take a moment to acknowledge the fact that he's old enough to play someone's grandfather now? What?
What is that about? No.
I'm horrified, shocked, and appalled.
Oh, God. It was wonderful seeing him.
I wish he had more lines, but I also understand the show is not Giles. It's not Giles in the 18th century. Okay.
And, I mean, played the part just perfect. This is beyond the pale. Throw down napkin.
I thought it was really interesting that his wife was kind of the big bitch of the
seriously
scene. It's
because he was willing to be, okay, dear, let's calm down. We agreed we weren't going to do this. That kind of thing. He's trying to find a way to bury the hatchet and not in somebody's neck. And but it's the wife that is completely off her nut.
I love that the show decided to do that, because obviously it's a patriarchal society, and I expected him to be the one that was like, how dare you run off to India, because he's the white guy in the room. But it was actually the mother, who I think is deeply hurt more than anything. I think she's acting from a place of just hurt, and that's therapy talking. But I was like, it radiates off you. And that was really interesting to watch. And I love that this show always is like, let's center mothers. It's like quite often you read stories with the daddy issues, and no, it's actually the mothers who run most families, and they're the center of most people's families, and they make the decisions that can wreck and destroy your entire life. So that was so smart. This show is come on, show.
Yeah.
In some ways, and then
it's in some ways it's annoying. It's so smart. I'm kidding. They
find the ways to hurt you, and they press on the button.
Yes. And you're going, ouch, but well done.
Thank you for hurting me.
Yes. Oh, God.
You know what was annoying about that, though? Edwina's pathological need to be liked by them was like...
Oh,
Edwina!
The girl's living in a fairy tale.
But
She's
where's the
living in a
loyalty
fairy
to
tale.
her fucking mother? I was just...
Seriously.
They were being so obviously just cold to her mother, and she was just like, I'm going to talk about the fucking opera with my grandparents. Oh.
Yeah. Although you could see what she was doing with, and Kate is the one who introduced it to, they're saying, see, Kate is awesome. Kate, see, Kate, and Kate shoots and, all these things. So you could see that she was trying to make sure that her sister Kate was brought into, some of the similar interests that the Sheffields had, that kind of thing. But, nice try, girl. But, the stuff that's happening in this room right now is like next level. It's next level. It's a nice try, but you're not ready to play in this playground up here yet.
I just don't understand, like, how oblivious she is sometimes. It's like, you came to England knowing that your mother was shunned. Like, what made you think that you could just, like, will these people to be nice? Like, what's wrong with you? It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like, but I'm not...
Living in a fairy tale.
It's just like, oh, come on, Edwina. Please join us in the real world here.
Okay, Lady Danbury's advice. And I know we touched on this already a little bit.
Yes.
But, I think that it's interesting that, earlier in the show, we had her talking about how she's had the opportunity to live a life in order to reach the point where she is independent, able to do what she wants, has money, and she's able to live as she chooses. And, she's telling Kate, yeah, you just don't walk into this system as a spinster and get all of this stuff. These kinds of things come after you've had the opportunity to live a life. And now here we are in a situation where it's like,
oh, how the turntables.
Yes, exactly. It's like you can have this dinner and try to get things sorted out so that, Kate, you're able to have this kind of life without having to jump through all of these hoops to get there.
It's a different set of hoops, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Selling your soul to the literal devils who hate you and your mother.
Exactly. And, the whole idea of, okay, you said you lived a life and you loved and all of those kinds of things. And now you're talking about, passion cools and, fate intervenes and, all of those kinds of things happen. But, if you go along with what's behind door number 2, you can have all that. You just have to give up all of those things that I told you earlier in the series that one needed to have in order to get what you want. So,
It's confused, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And, Adjua is so charming a performer that I was almost agreeing with her terrible advice in the moment.
I know.
After she left the screen, I was suddenly like, wait a minute! That was terrible advice. But...
nice try, woman.
Almost had me because in sentiment I do believe in everything she's advocating for, but I also think it's terrible advice because Kate and Anthony aren't going to be able to hide their feelings in the long term, and he's going to be married to her fucking sister. Anthony, hallelujah, he had a moment of absolute clarity, and he knew that eventually shit would blow up. And ultimately...
Yeah, it's like he was only going to be able to say, nope, I can walk away from this whenever I want. One day...
Ultimately, Kate is the one that is going to end up hurt the most if that happened.
Yeah.
Because her entire family would just blow up. the last remaining bit of her of biological blood she had would then hate her for the rest of her life, and she would end up all alone anyway. Like, it's very obvious that Kate was willing to sacrifice anything to keep her last remaining family together. But I think, again, Danbury's advice is bad because I think it's prioritizing status and like security over the emotional well-being of that family. Because I don't, it's not going to survive Anthony and Edwina's wedding. Can't, because these feelings are legitimate and long-lasting, and it will just cause a huge clusterfuck. You have to prioritize being honest to who you are more than keeping everybody else happy. Because it's you can't keep everybody else happy. That's also not even Kate's responsibility long term. She's doing a Ross Poldark and thinking that it's her burden to carry. Everyone's happiness depends on her just shutting up, and it's like, no, you can't ensure that other people are happy. You can't do that for them. You can't give Edwina long-lasting love. That's not that's not something that you can control. It's like, just Kate, let go of this. I feel like I'm her therapist. I'm like, girl, you can only control what you can control, which is yourself.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, I think we'll be able to, like, get through the next 3
really quickly.
storylines very quickly. Eloise and Theo. Next.
So they're very charming performers.
Yes.
But I don't care. Remember how excited I was about Eloise becoming a better feminist and reading some books? And then it was dashed by the knowledge that this entire thing is a way of getting Eloise to have a love interest. I was just like, oh, I am not here for this. I want to see her grow as a person and improve her relationships with the people around her.
Yeah.
This ain't it for me. I'm not interested in this.
Spoke my words completely. Penelope and Eloise.
I actually quite like this.
Yeah.
This is fun for me.
Yeah, I agree.
You do too?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you know, the way that, and maybe, you know, the whole Theo Eloise thing, the value that I'm getting out of it is that it is providing a plot mechanism for the Penelope and Eloise situation. Yes. The Pelony,
I do think
the Pelony ship.
It's Penelope's, I think. Yeah.
Penelope's?
Cute. I do find it kind of funny that Penelope is so furious. It's because it's like, honey, you do the same thing all the time.
Exactly.
It's really funny. But I'm also on Penelope's side because I'm like, Eloise, get away from that dirty poor boy. You don't know where he's been. Also, male feminist, always a bit worrying.
Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see where this Theo Eloise thing goes. If it is something that is going to last beyond this season, or
God, I hope not.
If it truly is just a mechanism to move the Lady Danbury plot
create tension between these two friends. I mean, I think there's tension enough in their vastly differing opinions on feminism and Penelope's running around being a whistledown. Like that was fun tension that we had last season, but I guess we've got to throw a man in. Guys, everyone, in case you were wondering, Eloise is straight, so those dreams are dashed.
It's a nice dream, but we gotta move on. Speaking of moving on, Benedict!
Yeah. Again, instead of showing character growth, we have some horniness. How am I supposed to take him seriously as an artist if he's just going to be like, oh my god, boobs?
Exactly. Whee! I'm a 13-year-old boy. Boobies.
Okay.
Oh gosh. He although I do appreciate the banter between he and Eloise. I think that I enjoy that.
I also was like, yet again, the people Benedict encounters in these environments are more interesting than him. was like,
yes.
I was like, this woman is great. I love her. I get why he wants to sleep with her, but I don't know why I have to watch it. Thank you, show.
Oh, God. Okay, Portia and Jack. Now, we can spend some time here. Because I love these two so much.
Yes!
I love them so much.
I'm so desperate for them to hook up, and it's just never gonna happen. It's like...
We can never have nice things, you know.
No.
So
send me the fanfic, everybody.
Yeah.
What was really interesting to me was Portia's absolute visible desperation to be well regarded by the Ton.
Yes.
I'm like, what is lying underneath that surface?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what?
Yes.
It's like, oh, she's giving so much with such tiny amounts of screen time that I'm like, I want to know that backstory. Like, why does the Ton hate her? Because she doesn't seem to be any more of a bitch than anybody else in this stupid society.
Seriously.
I mean, yes, she dresses badly, but what are you gonna do?
No, I mean, and you can see that Jack is begrudgingly admiring her.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you see that he's just like, he's amazed at this woman's ballsiness to do this to come up with these kinds of machinations. So.
Well, because he's crafty as well. Like, I get that sense from them that he's like, oh, this is a plan. This is very dangerous and a terrible idea. But he's like, this could get us money. And he's willing to do it.
Oh, God.
It's going to end really badly, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Somebody's going to end up in jail before the end of the season.
Someone's gonna go down.
It's gonna be a fun ride anyway. And what I like about this storyline in general is that, you get quite a lot in very small amounts. It's like, it's not taking up huge chunks of screen time. I'm never like, oh, we're going here again. I'm always like, well, what's she gonna do now? How are you gonna get yourself out of this one, Portia?
It'll be interesting, and I'm here for it.
So, we've never spoken about them all season, but I feel like it's time to casually mention that Alice and Will are still on this show.
I know. I was happy to see them. And I love the fact that Alice gets what he needs to do in order to get more clientele. You know, you gotta, if you want to play in the game of opening a gentleman's club, you gotta play the politics. You gotta play the politics. And
she got that in season 1 in a way that he didn't. Yeah. She was always the one being like, excuse me, Mr. Duke. Can you use your influence, please, to help your friend? Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't just show up to our house drunk and then not contribute. Yeah. Thank you. I love these characters.
Yeah, I do too. I really hope that they do more with them. But
yeah, I kind of felt like this season they've been really awkwardly shoehorned in. I think going forward the show needs to either do something with these characters, and I'm going to be savage here, either use them or cut them loose. Because this cast is huge, and it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger, and it can't sustain keeping people on just because we like them.
Otherwise you're going to have to go to like 2-hour episodes, and we know that that's not going to happen. So...
And, you know, if it doesn't serve the story, why is it there? And I don't know how this served the story. It's like its own little... It's interesting. Mm-hmm. It's interesting, definitely, and I like these characters. But what relevance it has to anything going on, I do not know.
Yeah.
But I could say that for a lot of the storyline.
True that.
Favorite scene?
Well, I know we've talked about several of them. The scene where they're doing the ring try-on thing. The scene where, you know, Anthony finally admits his feelings. Oh. That was spectacular. You're the bane of my existence and the object of all my desire.
That's from the book, by the way. That's a book line.
That's a fantastic line.
It's actually just like 2 lines from a speech, a whole ass, like, 2-page speech where he just, like, spews out how much he loves her. And it's one of the greatest things, and also the circumstances. Like, I can't tell you because it's really, it's spoilery.
Okay.
But it's also, like, just, like, I always think when I'm reading that, it's like, how is he doing that right this second? Anyway, you will find out.
I will find out soon.
When you read
yes, I will find out soon. And I love the way that they shot it. You know, on one side of her head, you're the bane of my existence.
From her perspective,
yes.
yeah.
And the object of all my desires on the other side. I mean, yeah, that was a fantastic scene. But I also have to say the scene at the Serpentine.
Oh, splashy splash.
That was, I mean, and not for the reason why I think a lot of people think. Yeah, it was
he's hot.
sexy.
Yeah,
he's hot. We got the Darcy moment, you know, that whole thing. I love good slapstick. That was great slapstick. Where
apparently they did that in one take.
Seriously?
I know. Like, Jonathan Bailey, you absolute cute, because you got that in one take. He was just like, yeah, I got he understood the assignment.
He's like, I got this. And I mean,
leg in the air.
Leg in the air. Both of the guys just going straight into the water. It was brilliant. And I love Dorset. Just like, oh, this is refreshing. Oh, he's just like having a ball.
Shout out to Dorset, who is probably like the most lovely but like clueless man you will ever see.
Yeah, so I loved that scene. I love that scene. And I love the scene between Dorset and Kate as they're, you know, paddling around out there in the Serpentine. You know, and
I have to say, Anthony is a good matchmaker, because I was like,
yeah,
if she wasn't in love with you, this would be a good idea.
This would work. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I enjoy, you know, their little chemistry, and you know, and how, you know, if you do come, I will show you the places I know.
I love her little story about the turtles. I was like, oh,
yes,
Kate Sharma, Queen of Turtles.
You're adorable.
Everything about all her stories from India, I'm like, oh, can we get a backstory? Like, can we just do like a prequel series of Kate just running around, being awesome, shooting shit, befriending turtles?
Oh gosh, how about you? Your favorite scenes?
So I think I'm going to be rewatching all of the Kate and Anthony scenes in a loop in my psyche forever.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I think the most satisfying scene for me personally was the Kate and Mary scene in the garden, because like, you know how much I've been going on about how I want Mary to have her voice. I've been really annoyed about it, and I think
there's only so many times you can have a headache.
Like, she's finally allowed to say words. I think she's kind of the key to understanding this dynamic that sprung up between Kate and Edwina, and how they have become the way they are. And, you know, we're in the deep end of the season now, and I felt it was important to have that. And the whole backstory really hangs over Kate, and I think she's internalized a lot of the pain that Mary has carried. And I think that final scene is really, like, stands on the back of this scene. I think it wouldn't have... definitely. It wouldn't have the emotional punch that it does have without this scene between Kate and Mary. And it's also just, like, we've had a lot of Kate and Danbury scenes that I was like, as Danbury becomes more and more useless and fallible, it's like, it's nice to have Mary sort of sneak back in there and be like, you know what, Kate? You don't have to choose duty and titles and wealth. You can choose love. And, you know, we stan.
Yes, definitely.
Least favorite.
Least fave.
That's really easy for me. I think you could remove Benedict's scenes entirely from the show, and it would make no difference to the plot. I mean, you know how they sent oh gosh, what was the name of the daughter off to study piano? How dare you forget my favorite character, Francesca?
I'm sorry. It's because we haven't.
Where the fuck is Francesca, by the way?
I don't know, man.
They didn't even send her away this time. They just pretend she's not on the show.
Seriously. Yeah, you can't get to G and H. You can't get to Hyacinth if you skip over Francesca.
We don't
Anyway.
talk about Franny. No, no, no.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Yeah, send him away off to art school. But I know that they can't do that because he is season 3.
Or is he? Who the fuck knows anymore? They're not establishing his season at all. I'm like, I have question marks.
Are they just going to establish him as just this kind of
horny mess?
frivolous, gadabout town artiste dude?
What's really weird is that in his book, his whole thing is like he's living a very frivolous life, and then he suddenly goes, you know what, I really want to become an artist, and then he sort of finds his passion for art. They've already done that, so his whole journey is already completed, and it's like, what are you gonna do about Benedict? I have question marks about that, but
yeah. So yeah, I mean, it just didn't seem to do much to move the plot on, except to explain. Okay, he got high and was doing all that crazy shit last episode. So now we get to see the fruits of his labor. Although, they could have skipped that and said, okay, the classes aren't going to start until next year.
Yeah.
And then they could have gone into it then.
I think part of the problem is having this in this episode. If they had done this sort of like earlier in the season, or later in the last episode or something, to be like, look at what he's doing before season 3, Yeah. It's just, its placement in this episode was like really bizarre. You'd go from some really intense scenes to just like him looking at boobs.
Oh god. Yeah. Okay. We are in agreement. Benedict
out. Okay, time for wig talk.
Can we wig talk?
We're talking wigs, baby.
Can we wig talk?
Baby.
Talk about wigs growing.
Talk about some wigs.
We finally got a queen wig again. It's been several episodes.
I know! And it was gorgeous.
It was, but I was not feeling her dress. I was like, it looked a bit Christmassy,
Yeah, but I love the dark hair.
Yes.
The dark textured hair wig. After seeing all of this confectionery powdered monstrosities, we finally get one that, is, could very well be her natural color.
I'd love to see another afro. Like, that one was, I still think about that afro wig from season 1.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Iconic.
Mm-hmm.
Any other hair moments?
For this season, it was pretty blah. That we didn't have, a ball moment or anything like that. So there wasn't a whole lot of wig action to get. The costumes, which I know we're gonna get to in a second, were great. One thing that I know we haven't talked about, and we didn't talk about the storylines, was, oh my god, her name just flew out of my head. Penelope's sister, Philippa?
Prudence or Philippa?
Prudence.
Oh, Prudence.
Yeah, they already married off Philippa. Prudence with the engagement ring.
Oh.
Look, don't touch. Look. Look at me.
I need to make a compilation of all of Prudence's, like, look at me! Look at me!
I know. Oh, she's funny.
I think, like, of everyone, I probably have that inside me the most, of just desperation to be noticed, because that's, like, the role you play in the family. It's very important. I'm like, can someone just notice what I'm doing? But I don't sing as badly as her.
No.
Back to wigs. I noticed that they are using Simone's natural hairline in this episode. Like, now that they're doing the whole curly tendril thing, which, by the way, how hot does that look on her? That scene where he's staring at her in the boat, I was like, she looks sensational.
Yes.
Yes. Now that she doesn't have that whole scraped back spinster aesthetic, and she's gone full romantic lead, it's like it's becoming a little bit natural and like glowy, and I'm just like, oh, so jealous. Like, how do you look so hot all of the time?
Oh, it's because she is so hot. She is so hot. Just beautiful.
Favorite costumes?
Oh man. I love everything she wears.
Oh, yeah.
I think okay, least favorite costume, the wedding dress.
Blah, 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 blah. That is the ugliest. Well, it's not the ugliest wedding dress I've seen, but you know what I mean.
Honey, that's a nightgown.
It's so boring. When she's like, should we put more embellishments on it? I'm like, bitch,
Yes. It's like,
put
yes.
something on it. It's just
It's right now.
nothing. Ugh.
Right now, it looks like your like shift that you wear underneath the dress.
Yeah, it's boring.
Because what you're wearing right now, nuh-uh. This is not.
I've got to say, like, with all of Edwina's dresses, there's something about the way they've cut them. It's just like 90% boobs. Like, her tits are just out there. And then, like, just so baggy around the rest of her body.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't think this ain't the right kind of dresses for you, girl. Like,
honestly, I as someone with an ample bosom, myself, I feel so uncomfortable for her in those dresses because they look painful.
Because you know she's wearing that corset underneath.
Yeah.
And that's not helping.
Yeah. They look painful.
Yeah, because she's got like that double boob, like 4 boob syndrome, where it's like they're being squeezed. It's like, I don't know. Like, the dress is just not fitting her the way that it should.
Yeah.
And she's so beautiful. Like,
she really is.
But they've like over-permed her hair and they've given her these weird dresses that don't. She still looks amazing. She looks way better than I ever would. But I'm like, it's not like 100% flattering. Like, I feel like they should have spent more time on this because she's the fucking diamond. She should not be having 4 boobs.
No. But anyway, favorite costumes still. I have been enjoying when we're not seeing Penelope at a ball.
Oh yeah,
she's been wearing other colors.
Yes, the
pink. The pink dress with the little flowers on them. I thought that was just charming, and it looked so good on her. And I wish they would do something about her wigs because her wigs are scandalous.
I really liked the style of that wig. The when she's going up to Eloise's and she's like, I thought you were going for a promenade, bitch. That whole... It looked
too flat.
Yeah, it's not a good wig, and, like, the hairline is too obvious, and it's just... But I do like the style. They're sort of going for, like, a sort of 1950s reporter-esque... I can't describe it. Like, it's just... There's something a bit, like, His Girl Friday about the gingham and the curls. Like, these huge, like, 1950s-style curls. I just thought she looked like old... school Hollywood, and I was like, oh, she's gonna get herself a scoop.
It's too flat. They should have put a hat on her.
Yeah.
Because I think
Can we get a bonnet up in this bitch?
There we go. We were talking about bonnets last week. Give the woman a bonnet.
They need to improve her wig before it's her season, because it's just...
Yeah. They've got to step that up.
But I like the colour of it a lot better than it was in season 1. I think it got too dark. Also, in season 1, I tried to track all the different shades of red their wigs were, because all the Featheringtons had like really inconsistent red. No, my fave costume was Kate's purple robe with the paisley print that she wore in her scene. I was like, this is fabulous. It's like a nice little nod to her Indian heritage. And I was just like, yeah. And it contrasted with Edwina's, like, very pink European style robe. And I was like, oh, the costumes are reinforcing the storytelling again. And, like, this week I really noticed how, like, Mary's costumes are sort of like the bridge between these two extremes of, like, these two cultures. And that beaded gown she wore for the dinner, I was like, okay, Mary, you go, Mary.
She's bringing it out.
Yep, it's her moment to shine.
Yeah, the costumes that they have used and the elements that they have brought in related to the Indian heritage is I've been eating it up. I would love to see that carried on, because I'm assuming that in series 3, we're not going to have a Regé-Jean Page moment And,
Simone's already said she's
Simone's gonna
back.
disappear.
She's like, I'm
Awesome.
gonna be in season 3, and I'm like, thank fucking
Awesome.
God.
I look forward to seeing how they carry on the costuming for her once she and Anthony are married, because it's happening.
It's happening.
People.
And it's gonna be
sometime in the next 3 hours.
It's gonna be in Aubrey Hall. It's gonna be like the complete opposite of this fancy fucking wedding. By the way, Edwina was like, "Oh my God, please throw me this fancy ass wedding." And when Anthony was like, "I don't think I want that," Edwina looked so disappointed. I was like, "Edwina, what the fuck's wrong with you? Can you?"
It's like, see, this is just another example of how you have no idea who this man is.
He just wants a nice, simple wedding with his family in the fucking country, and he's gonna get it with your sister, because you are not the one. Anyway. We really have to move on. Needle drop moment.
Oh, God.
There was a real lack of music in a lot of the scenes, which really heightened the tension and all of the sexy breathing noises.
Yes.
And the I am a gentleman.
But I've only got so much self-control.
Like, you and me both, man. Every episode it gets harder to press stop.
Yes.
You Ought to Know came on, and it was like the moment.
Yes. And I recognized it right away.
Yay.
Right away. Yes.
Another artist I have seen live. I was like, 2 episodes in a row. I was like, Chris Van Dusen, should we be mates on Spotify? Because I feel like we have the same taste.
I think so. No, I love that so much.
Who knew
and
that
it was
that
such
song
a perfect song.
I mean, I don't think the lyrics fit, but,
well,
it sounds beautiful.
Well, the mess you left when you went away, it's not fair to remind you. Oh, God, anyway.
Okay, but what about the lyrics that are like, when you go down at her in the cinema? Or something. Or
yeah.
She go... Yeah.
Yeah. We're not quite there yet. No.
Yeah, that's less applicable. I suppose the chorus works.
The chorus works. Yeah, like you ought to know. You ought to know. Ugh.
But who is the you in this situation? Because this is this is Kate fucking up. Last week we had Anthony's complete and utter fuck up. Then we have Kate's fuck up.
Yeah.
It's like, honestly, the fact that they both came to completely the same terrible decisions. I was like, oh my God, these two messes are perfect for each other.
Yes.
Even in the ways they are terrible.
It's like y'all are meant to be together. Performer of the episode.
Oh, this is hard. You go.
Oh.
You go first.
Oh,
so I can...
damn it, woman. Why'd you hand that to me? Because I was hoping that you would... Anyway.
Can we just... Okay, I can't pick between Johnny and Simone, so can we declare it a draw? Just to...
Yeah,
because you can pick... You can pick one and I'll pick the other.
Well, I mean, it really was... it really relied on the two of them coming to the points and the conclusions that they reached in this episode to really make it fire. So no, draw, totally open.
Total draw.
Absolutely.
That final scene that they hold a shot of Anthony deciding to agree to what she wants for there's a good 10 seconds of just watching him think, and I was like, oh man, I'm impressed. And then it had Simone start bursting into tears, and I was like, I can't decide who's better. It's so good.
I love how ferociously she wipes her cheek. She's done those kinds of movements throughout the season, where, it's like she just can't be bothered with these messy emotions that are occurring. You see that frustration. It's like, I don't want this. And you really feel it in that scene.
I think, I don't know why, but in that moment I was like, oh, I relate so much to everything Kate's saying. Have you seen Fleabag?
No.
No? Okay, well, you need to watch Fleabag, hon. It's like one of the greatest things on television ever. But the end of Fleabag season 2, there's a really famous line where the main character tells, okay, spoiler alert, a vicar that she's in love with him. She's like, but I love you. And he's like, it will pass. And it's like this iconic moment of like, complete heartbreak, but also like, yeah, that's kind of life. You fall in love and it's really intense, but you know that eventually you won't feel that way anymore. Like, that's just... And that line with Kate really reminded me of another incredible moment on TV. And I was like, it's not true in this case, because I really don't believe that it will pass. But I want to believe her. I was like, I want to believe Kate. She's saying it so intensely that I kind of want her force of will to be strong enough to withstand this. But I'm like, I know that it won't.
Yeah.
And that's quite a performance to instill, like, so much in, like, 2 or 3 lines. Like, God, this... Kate, you are the best ever! I love this character.
Honestly. When we think about, all the various different period dramas that, we've watched, this episode, or this season of Bridgerton is ranking right up there with Emma. It's ranking right up there with Pride and Prejudice. It as a standalone this season.
Yeah.
It is going to be one of my favorites.
Well, Michelle,
one of my top 3s.
Michelle, we have to see if it sticks the landing, though. You never know; it could all go horribly wrong. We could be like, I didn't like that ending. Oh,
okay. I don't
think that's going to happen.
At this moment, one of my top 3s. Yes.
Okay.
Don't fuck it up, people. 3 hours!
How many B's out of 5?
What do you think?
Are you going to go 5? 5?
5!
I'm going to knock it half a point. I'm going to say 4.5.
What?
Yeah, I just...
Why?
Theo and Eloise and Benedict and... Why? It's like, I would just have liked a full hour of actual interesting things. And when I rewatch this episode, I'm gonna fast forward through those scenes, guys.
Well, of course.
So,
yeah.
I'm gonna be harsh and say, like, Master Do Better, please remove all this faff. Okay.
Enough faffing around.
Thank you. I just want pure drama. Thank you.
Okay, you could be the tough one. I'm just giving it 5.
So time for our inbox section.
Oh my goodness.
An hour and a half in.
Yeah. So, all the previous episodes that have been about an hour 30, buckle yourself in, because we have many, many, many things to go through.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone who got in contact. You're all so smart and witty and funny, and it's really a huge delight to be able to read your thoughts. I wish I didn't have to edit them, but once again, I was overwhelmed by the sheer number of them. And one idea I did think we should float is doing a post-season 2 podcast where we just have one massive inbox sesh and we really delve into your guys' thoughts. Would you be up for that?
Yeah.
I think our podcast host even allows voice memos for anyone who's feeling real brave. Guys, write in and let me know if you're interested in that. And also, before we get started, shout out to Anna, who emailed us last week and told us about that ASMR version of that scene between Kate and Anthony. She sent over the link. We watched it. We died. And we shall now be adding it to the show notes if anyone else wants to scream publicly.
Yeah. It's good. Almost as good as Matthew McFadden reading the rain scene from Pride and Prejudice.
You just had to say that, and like I was teleported to that moment. Oh my god. Okay.
Evil laugh. Okay, inbox. I have a question for you. How do you see Shondaland setting us up for season 3? Do you think they'll follow the order of the books and have Benedict go next? What do you predict as far as the unfolding plot lines go with Bridgerton marriages, friendships, Lady Whistledown, and the Queen? I read all the books after season 1, and I know Shondaland will deviate where we feel they need to, so I don't necessarily think they are the best guide. Love you both, Christine.
Thank you.
Okay, I haven't read the book, so Rita, take it away.
Oh, well, I don't have a clue what they're planning to do, so I can't help. I would prefer them to follow the order of the books, but I think Benedict's is kind of unique in that it is really self-contained, and you could probably pick it up and plop it anywhere, because it's just not... It could go anywhere. There are theories that they're going to go straight to the Penelope book, and when you think about how much they've set it up this season, it kind of makes sense. But if they do that, then they need to do Eloise's book immediately after, because those two are connected, and then, like, that becomes a whole mess for me, and I'm like, where are we going? What are we doing? What's happening? I don't know. Good luck, everyone. Shondaland, I hope you have fun. I'll be tuning in, no matter what, so.
Yeah.
It's a mess. Next email said, "Hi Rita and Michelle, I totally hear you that Eloise's hunt for Lady W is boring, but I think I have a little more patience than you for her clumsy baby feminist politics. I hope that she will learn from her self-centered mistakes and privilege and become a more sophisticated radical. Well, first she needs to get her ass in the ring and away from that boy, because he's just distracting her. Anyway." Oh, also, because of your podcast, I binged Podok this winter. Oh, this poor woman. I don't know whether to thank you or blame you for how much Ross and Demelza have invaded my brain. Maybe I have hope for Eloise because Ross became a sometimes effective, though usually completely stupid and foolhardy radical. Ross's flavour of radical is sort of like, guys, I believe in democracy as long as I'm in charge. Can we make me in charge of everything, please? No. One last thing. I had hoped, because of season 1, that Benedict would be a queer Bridgerton. Alas, the show has seemed to backtrack from that. Boo. Maybe there's still hope for someone else. Love your way too long episodes. Thanks for all your hard work, Andrea. You're in for another one.
Oh, yeah. It would be nice to have a queer Bridgerton.
Or queer anyone. There's a complete lack of any queer characters this season, which is just an absolute nightmare. That's
really frustrating, because I really enjoyed having that element in season 1 a lot. But, I'm biased.
One of my headcanons was for lesbian Edwina. Lesbuina. I thought it would have been fun to have, like, a diamond that was, like, actually internally struggling with their sexuality while having the mask of extreme femininity. That would have been interesting.
Been intriguing.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Contact me, Shondaland. I have excellent ideas for how to... Because I don't know that you can... Here's the thing. I don't know that you can really change these heterosexual books so completely to the point where these are, like, queer books, because I think so much of Regency period is about gender-based identity.
Yeah.
And a lot of the struggles of those are just, like, so ingrained into the stories. But, you can insert very interesting side characters into the story. Like, Edwina would have been, like, a very prominent figure for season 2 if she'd been queer, but, we got straight Edwina. No more lesbuina.
Yeah. No. Lesbuina. Oh, my Lord. Oh, God. Let's see. Rita, and Michelle. Did you know that there's 3 of you?
It sometimes feels like it, yeah.
You two have me laughing my ass off. I so missed your commentary from the Poldark days, and so glad you both are back. Wry, witty, fangirl swoons. Such fun to listen to. Originally tried listening at night to fall asleep, but impossible because I wake myself up laughing. One thing I also love is the selection of music at the end of each podcast. Each song is a perfect accompaniment to the previous segment. I wish you would name the song and who sings it so I don't have to go searching for it. Anywho, give me more and more.
Oh.
And more. Maria P. from West Virginia. This last week's was absolutely perfection.
I have been advocating for the inclusion of this song on the soundtrack since season 1. I was tweeting Chris Van Dusen every week, like...
Yes.
You should include this song in the soundtrack! And by the way, before season 2 came out, the band that the show uses for violin covers released the song. And I was like, oh, look, it just happens to be available on Spotify for you to use in your show. Did they use it? No.
No. But yeah, it was perfect.
This week's song I have chosen, wait for the chorus. The verse doesn't really apply, but
okay,
it's a surprise.
Yeah, she doesn't tell me any of this, so I'm just as surprised as you guys.
It's so that I can get
to the end.
Extra hit on the stats, really. Like, get an extra listen.
There we go.
Next email said, "Hi, wonderful podcast ladies. I think the scene at the Sheffield dinner when Anthony defends the Sharmas needs more attention. If you're not at least half in love with Anthony, after that, well, I don't know what you're watching. That is Anthony's nobody puts baby in a corner moment."
Yes!
Don't... I just had, like, an absolute brain meltdown because I love Dirty Dancing so much.
Don't put baby in a corner.
Composing myself.
Okay.
I know the show is manipulating me with contrived situations to amp up the drama. How many times has Kate been cut off when trying to tell Edwina something?
Oh my god.
But I'm a sucker for it at this point. Edwina, can you let Kate finish a sentence as well? She's, like, clearly telling you something important, and you just were like, oh, the Sheffields are here, bye-bye. I don't know what Benedict's storyline has to do with anything. If it's character building, we kind of saw all this artist stuff last season, but I'm okay with it because he's so adorable. And guys, you got to see his butt crack, so... I know the Benedict fans were swooning. Thanks, ladies, for reading the emails. It's so fun to hear from people as obsessed as I am. You have such smart listeners. I know. It's like, sometimes I think you guys should be doing the podcast. I'm so glad someone wrote in about the lady Whistledown printer. I had to rewatch episode 2 to see that Eloise did say new printer. Restored my faith in the writers a bit. Until next time, Carol in Connecticut, which I've just learned how to say. Thank you, Carol.
And the way I learned how to spell it, way back was connect, I cut. Connecticut. Anyway,
America, in your spellings.
Okay. Dear Michele and Rita, I'm realizing listening to you that watching the whole thing in one go on one's phone is like ordering takeout from a 3 Michelin star restaurant and shoving all this glorious food onto a plastic plate, eating it over your kitchen sink, and then topping it with a can of Coke. You miss out on flavors and ambiance if you don't do it properly, and it just doesn't taste as good. I'm still talking Bridgerton, by the way, but who's hungry?
Me.
So I'm rewatching alongside you one episode at a time now and sending lots of moral support you asked for, and you can do it energy.
We can do it, Michele! We can!
Because in spite of what I can hear is Rita screaming at her screen at the end of episode 5. I believe you can wait, and also... isn't it like 15 minutes away from at least Michele watching episode 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And I'm not much more for Rita, I'm sure.
I usually don't watch it till the next day, guys. It's brutal. Because
she winds up editing the episode and
having
to and then having to listen to me send her basically not so cryptic texts. The texts basically consist of all caps,
like
blabberings, like no.
What's funny is that like I approach, thanks to you, I now approach each episode like I was not expecting the resolution because you were like no. So I was like, okay, well, they're still engaged. I'm gonna go in with low expectations.
Oh God. Anyhow, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut this week.
No, so, you have to tell me.
Oh God. Well, we'll see. And to the point for this week, episode 5, I was horrified to realize that Anthony did in fact propose, and it wasn't just Penelope's daydream, since she wanted to scoop so badly, I'd hoped she'd imagined or dreamt the whole thing. I'm terrified by how far they're taking this whole love triangle. Just when we think at the end of the episode that we've got a plan for dissolution of this delusional engagement, Kate begs him to take his sister back. Or take her sister back. I mean, girl, do you not see that your sister is standing on the outside while it's you who is not only in love with Anthony, but also he loves you? You're both drawn to each other like magnets, and just, could somebody please wake those two dummies up? Because it looks like they're about to make a huge mistake and hurt everyone in the process. And the only one who can see this coming is Lady Danbury. Oh my God.
She's not helping though, is she?
No, she is not. Side point for this season, I'd love to hear your take on. Do you get a feeling like the dances they do in this season are much slower than season 1? Did anyone else notice? They don't ever waltz like Daphne and Simon, but rather all the dances, be it Antony's or Eloise's, are the slower walky ones, where they seem to be walking on the dance floor doing some hand gestures, but not really dancing in a way we mean it these days. Embrace and then some steps while in motion together? Or is it just me who wants more gliding through the dance floor? Do we think that they've run out of time and couldn't teach them anything faster? Or was this on purpose?
I don't think... Right, Daphne and Simon, by the way, that... I know that they call what they did in the final episode a waltz, but that wasn't a fucking waltz, okay? That was not a waltz. They were jumping. You do not jump in a waltz. Anyway. Anthony and Edwina have done several waltzes in the background. I imagine that they're not doing them for Kate and Anthony because it would be way too much touching, and we would be...
Yeah.
We'd be like, oh my God, they're humping each other on the dance floor. Why does nobody know?
Oh gosh. Okay, that's it for this week. But keep going, and thank you for keeping me company in the kitchen with your fun episodes. As perhaps some others who don't own dogs, I listen while stirring, chopping, and cleaning up. Great job so far, and looking forward to the next kitchen meetup. Cat.
Okay, Kat, you need to tell us what you're cooking now because I'm starving.
Yes.
Is that why this
Yes.
This email started with a this eating analogy, and then...
Perhaps.
Oh, God, now I'm hungry.
Perhaps.
Thank you.
Are you a chef?
Our next email said, hi... Oh, wait, this was a DM. Sorry, this was from Instagram. Hi there. In episode 5, after the Sheffields have left Lady Danbury's house and Anthony tells Kate she's the object of all his desires. Oh... I love how Anthony doesn't actually allow himself to touch Kate apart from nose nuzzling.
Oh.
That's one way of putting it.
God.
Until she finally admits being plagued by these feelings. I think it might be the first time he's realised she actually feels the same way he does, and that until that point, he truly thought he was longing for someone who hated him. Only when she admits having feelings does he then gently touch her hair and caresses her face. Oh my God! Whilst also telling her being together is impossible. Ugh, screaming emoji. Love
Yes.
your podcast. Waiting for it each week must be similar to how you feel waiting to watch each episode. You've got the willpower of iron. Roll on next Tuesday. I mean, guys, there's no way that our podcast is as good as one of these episodes. Like, you guys, it's not the same. It's really not. No. But also that moment where he
God.
touches her hair, like, part of
Yeah.
like the rain from I've been longing for him to reach out and cup her face. I don't know why, but I could tell that he wanted to, and then when he did it, I was like, ah!
Yes.
Yeah.
Meltdown.
It will never be the same.
Oh my gosh. Oh, geez. Okay. Hey, ladies, it's so great that you guys are starting to touch on the themes of the show. I'm here for it. I spend way too much time thinking about the motivations of fictional characters.
Oh, you've come to the right place.
Yeah, you sure have. Okay, I completely agree that one of the themes of this season is identity and the various characters discovering their own identities. But taking it a step further with Kate and Anthony. I think it's also what happens when someone comes into your life and forces you to question your identity. Do you hold onto your identity or do you change? At the beginning of the season, Kate and Anthony are characters who know exactly who they are and what they want for their lives. But through the course of the season, the feelings these characters have developed for each other causes them to question everything they know to be true about themselves and the people most important to them. We can really see this internal struggle playing out in episodes 4 and 5. At the end of episode 4, Anthony, aka the human trash compactor, is determined to hold on to his previous identity by hiding his feelings for Kate in the best way he knows possible by proposing to Edwina. To me, it looks like he instantly regrets that decision. During episode 5, Anthony comes to the realization that he has, in fact, failed as a human trash compactor and cannot contain his feelings for Kate. We can see it all over Anthony's face when Dorset is courting Kate. Just the sight of Kate being touched by and laughing with another man sends Anthony seething with jealousy. It's kind of fitting that he ended up in the lake he needed to cool off. Then at dinner, when he's sitting across from Kate, the man is completely undressing her with his eyes. He cannot keep it together. As for Kate, her whole identity has been about her family. She has spent her life putting her family before herself, so that it's not far of a stretch to believe that she would continue to do that when it comes to her feelings for Anthony. Even when Kate confronts Anthony at Danbury House, it's almost as though she is not upset that he didn't propose to her, but that she knows Anthony doesn't love Edwina. Edwina's happiness comes first. It isn't until the dinner when she sees Anthony defend her and her family, and then after when they both share their feelings for one another in the steamiest way possible, oh my God, that Kate finally can start to see herself with Anthony. But this is short-lived. When Edwina tells Kate that she is in love with Anthony, it's all over for Kate. She is now assuming the role of the human trash compactor and is hiding her feelings for Anthony in exchange for Edwina's happiness. Good God, these characters are truly meant for each other.
That's what we were trying to say!
Yes! Let's see, Kate and Anthony are hanging on so tight to their previous identities that they don't realize it's too late. They've already changed. The question is, when will the characters finally realize it? All I know is it better be soon. This tension is killing me.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Side note, did you guys catch Anthony Head as Lord Sheffield?
Did we? Did we?
Yes! I squealed aloud. Also, I told you guys that Featherington's storyline was getting predictable. You called it, Rita. They are going to scam the ton. Jennifer from Chicago. Thank you, Jennifer.
That was such a good email, Jennifer. And I think you're totally right about, in particular, like, Anthony, I think, is further along in recognizing that his facade of, I am a gentleman, is slipping. It's ironic that Anthony is maybe getting there sooner.
I know. Well, we shall soon see.
Okay, episode 206. It's called The Choice, which bodes well for us. Yay! And the episode description reads as follows. I love that I'm reading this dramatically as if our entire audience hasn't already seen it. But Anthony's duty to his family wars with his desire for Kate. Edwina ponders her future and impresses the Queen. Eloise's rendezvous stirs suspicion. Boo, Eloise! We don't need this right now. We're focusing on this.
We've got more important things to deal with.
Boo, hiss. Yeah. So I mentioned earlier to you on the text that while I was getting this episode description, I happened to accidentally look at the still on Netflix for the next episode, and it's of Edwina in a wedding dress. So fuck you, Netflix, for spoiling this episode.
Well, I have to say that on one of my rewatches, I fell asleep during episode
Obviously
5.
During the Benedict scenes. You were
Probably. I fell asleep, and when I woke up, it had auto-started episode 6. And as soon as I realized what happened, I slammed my eyes shut, and I started going, la 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 la, as I fumbled for the remote so that I wouldn't hear what was going on, and then managed to turn the TV off. Oh my God. So, I haven't been spoiled, but it was a close one.
It was so close. I
Netflix,
think if
you gotta stop this autoplay bullshit, okay?
we deserve awards for our dedication. You were lying. I mean,
I was yeah. It was pretty comical. It was pretty comical. Let's see. So, what are you looking forward to in this next episode?
hopefully the conclusion of this awful triangle, because it hurt.
My God.
I need to. It's gonna be a fucking mess, though. I
But
don't know.
Here's the thing: trying to get out of this triangle is going to take time. They just can't, call off the engagement
and then
and then Anthony go, okay, Kate, what do you
what
think?
if they just were like, actually, he's marrying Kate, and they shove her down the aisle instead? The wedding announcement was wrong.
Oh my God,
that would be hilarious.
God.
But
Yeah,
that's not happening.
so,
Is it? No, because that's not dramatic.
So that I think that's part of my panic. That it's like, yeah, we've got 3 episodes left, but trying to unravel all of this crap is gonna.
Yeah, he can't just propose to Kate.
No.
Hey, I think I'd rather be with your sister now. Think about how you would react if one of your friends did that in real life. Was engaged to one sister and then was like, actually, I'm going to marry the other one. You'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so it is going to be a mess. Y'all will probably hear us screaming from wherever you are across the globe. Stay tuned.
I hope it's... Okay, here's my one personal wish. I hope it at least ends with the choice, whatever is being made.
Yes.
And, we don't have to wait another week to find out that, they're not getting married. Because, bitch, we know. We know they're not getting married, okay?
Yeah. We have known this since the bloody show started, okay?
It's the only thing getting me through each episode.
Oh, God. Okay. Whew.
Okay.
Well...
It's been almost 2 hours.
Almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Shit.
So, that's all from us this week. But we'll be back next week.
All is used ironically, surely.
Recapping and discussing the 6th episode, if we survive, until then. Until then, follow us on social media. We are at In the Books Network on Instagram and Twitter. We are also on Tumblr if you want to send in some anonymous questions. Our Ask box is open, and we are, of course, dying to hear what you thought. Please email us at inthebooksnetwork@gmail.com, and we will read you out in our inbox section. And remember to subscribe, rate, and review because it really helps us reach a larger audience. Thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.